Hi guys, my name is Mary Ellen and I make vlogs. I also do talking videos. I have been on a break for like the last 3 months, so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. I feel like I went on like this self-reflective journey and I learned a lot of tips about myself that may be able to help you. So if you are in your 20s and you just feel like lost or just not in control of your life and kind of just overall overwhelmed, just keep on watching. So I did write some things down just so I can remember. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we'll start with the first one. I want to let you guys know that I am only 24 and this is just my life journey, and it may not, you know, work for you what works for me. And you know, obviously I'm still young, I'm still learning, but let's just get right into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was your template. Your life template, your timeline is going to look 100% different from someone else's. I don't care what, you know, you can try to be, what you can try to follow. Everyone's life is different. We all have a different walk of life, and some are just more fortunate than others, and you know, others just got to work a little bit harder. So once you kind of just put that into perspective, you're able to understand like, okay, like just because I follow this girl's steps or this and that, like doesn't mean I'm gonna get to the same endpoint. Doesn't mean I'll even like the same endpoint. So I feel like it's really important to kind of just know and already accept that this is my life and my timeline is gonna look a lot different from somebody else's. And when I like kind of realize that it's just like, you know, I may seem like I'm behind or like I may feel, you know, more insecure about my timeline, it doesn't make, I shouldn't feel bad about that because my timeline's not gonna match someone else's online. So the next thing, okay, this one kind of goes in with like social media. I have an Instagram as well as a YouTube, but basically I think it's super important that you unfollow and kind of don't really interact with things that don't necessarily align with you. I feel like it's so easy to constantly scroll, constantly keep looking at people's stuff, and you know, when you tend to see something that like doesn't really align with you constantly, or it's constantly praising like, you know, do life this way or believe this way or think this way, I feel like it's so easy to cloud your mind that you ultimately start losing yourself and your own dream. Okay, let's just say someone who's like a lawyer, right? Let's say I'm following someone and their life tends to look a lot different than mine. If I don't really have like any intention of being like a lawyer or following like that dream of like that kind of dream path, then you don't really want to align yourself with stuff that's not really matching you. And I'm not saying like you have to unfollow your friends or, you know, stuff like that. I just think it's really important that you don't get lost in other people's lives and you kind of, you know, stick to what you believe, stick to what you feel. And mind you, everyone has an opinion on social media. I'm not saying you can't, but it's also good to kind of pull yourself out of that and be like, you know, that's not really aligning with me. I don't have to agree with it. So why don't I just, you know, unfollow it or maybe not really put my like attention to it basically. So yeah, like I said, it's just gonna cloud your mind and you will lose your own personal dreams. Looking at other people's dreams and other people's like ways of life and what they believe can really affect what you start believing about what you really think. And I think that if you feel like you think differently and you're different, like own that. That's something about myself, is I feel like everyone looks at me like she's weird for thinking that, or she's weird for being okay with this or not being okay with that. And like ultimately it doesn't matter because it's not your life. So I just think it's good to just stick to who you are, and sometimes you can get lost with that. So just try to find your way back. Okay, so advice. We all have friends, we all have family, we all have people we go to, whether it's about like relationships, work, money, time, all sorts of things like that. We tend to look for people and their advice. My thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with reaching out for help. You always should when you need it. But also, just because someone gives you advice does not mean that you need to necessarily take that advice. I think that it's important to hear different perspectives out, but someone may be like, well, just do that or just stick through it. And maybe that doesn't work with you. Maybe you can't stick through it. Maybe it's really breaking you inside. And I think with people's advice, you know, they shouldn't really take it personally if you can't really accept it, or maybe you can't find yourself to be like, I agree with you. I just think it's important that you're getting all these advices from all these people you care about. Remember that you're the one that needs to decide what's best for you. Nobody's gonna know what's best for you other than yourself. So I think if you really want to, you know, take someone's advice, make sure it aligns with what you want. Make sure it aligns with who you are. And don't just do it because they're telling you to do it, if that makes sense. So this one kind of goes like along with work. I've been feeling lately, like I said, I'm only 24 and I've been feeling so stressed about the fact that I have not found my career yet. And I don't know what I want my career to be. I have like a lot of experience in different areas, and I think it's so easy to like go online and see that someone's a nurse, someone's a lawyer, someone realize they're gonna do this, that, and I just think it's so exhausting because you're almost like, damn, they figured it out, how come I haven't figured it out yet? And I just, like I said, that's me comparing myself to people. That's me who's on a different timeline, expecting to already be in my career. So I feel like it's really important that, you know, you're not behind, you're not alone. I too have yet to find my career. I've had a lot of shitty situations with jobs. I feel like, especially right now in 2022, the job market sucks. Like, I feel like companies don't really give a shit about you. Companies are also not really offering what you deserve. And for me, like, I don't know about you, but I know that I'm not going to stay at a job that I don't get respect from. Like, if they don't treat me right, if I'm not happy, like, I'm gonna quit that job. Like, to me, life's just too short. And mind you, if, you know, I was in a scenario where like, okay, if I quit this job, like, I'm gonna end up on the street, I'm gonna lose things that I need, like, obviously keep the job until you can find another one. But for the most part, there's always gonna be another job out there, and I don't think that you should settle. And life's too short to settle in that instance. So for my advice, you know, quit that job, find another job. There's gonna be other jobs out there. And a lot of companies like to make you feel like, oh, we can just replace you. And yeah, you know what, they can, but know your worth. Know that you bring a certain thing to the table that they can't find in anybody else. So I just think it's, for me, I'm learning that, you know, you may look at other people and they're just like so like happy in their job and career, but I don't think that's the case. I think that some people settle, and I think that some people just get really lucky and find a really good job. And I think that after hearing this podcast, I don't know if you've heard it, I'm trying to think of the name, but I'll put it in the bio below. This podcast I was listening to was touching on, like, a lot of people don't have their things figured out as much as we seem to think, and in all honesty, they ask for help, they ask for advice, they ask for, you know, what I should do. And a lot of people tend to just follow what they hear, like, oh, you don't know what to do, get into nursing school, get into this, you know what I mean? Like, and that may be someone else's dream that they're doing, but it's like, just because it's easy or what they think you should do, I don't think you'll necessarily be happy. I think that you'll just be in a car, like, this is what the podcast was saying, like, don't be in a car where someone else is driving and you're the passenger. Like, you want to be the driver in your life, and you don't want to be the passenger in your life. And I feel like that clicked for me, because this podcast literally talked about, you know, for most of our lives, until we're old enough to be the own driver of our car, you know, our parents are the driver. We're just the passenger. And once you're thrown into life, like, okay, now you get to drive, like, you feel like shit, like, I can't do this, like, this is too much, or I'm lost. And like, that's why, like, I wanted to let you guys know that you don't have to feel lost, you don't have to feel stressed about life. Like, it's gonna come, it's gonna put itself all out there on the table, and you're gonna be like, oh, like, this is what I was waiting for, this is what I wanted. And you know, that's another thing too, is know what you want. Like, ultimately, we tend to like, should I do this, should I do that? And I think you'll find answers to those questions a lot easier when you really like isolate with yourself and take everyone out of your life for a little bit and just be with yourself and ask yourself these questions. What do I want in life? What do I truly want? What do I want to do in life? What means the most in life to me? What am I content with for my future? And I think when you ask yourself those questions and you write down your answers, you'll get a clear answer of what you want. Just because what you want may not seem like it's achievable doesn't mean that you can't work towards that and get that. I'm a firm believer, if you think you can, you know, if you want it, you can go get it. But it just takes work, it takes patience. And that's one thing that I realized, is that I wanted things to happen quickly. I wanted things to move fast for me so that I can get everything I want in life. But ultimately, it's not gonna happen that way, and it sucks. But you look at these Instagrams, like, people forget Instagram is basically, to me, it's a poster picture of like people's lives, and it's like the best photo, it's the best stuff going on in their lives. And I'm not saying like those aren't great moments, but at the end of the day, like, they're not putting up their worst struggles, they're not putting up the shit that when shit hits the fan. So it's like, ultimately, like, we love to look at these things and these people's profiles and think like, oh, their life is so much better than mine, or oh, this and that. It's like, everyone struggles. I believe everyone goes through their own things, and you know, they may not put them online, but it's like, don't forget that. Don't forget and feel like you're alone and struggling and not doing what you should be. Like, ultimately, you're okay, I promise. Okay, and this goes into like this one goes like into my next one. Basically, like, get off your phone and disconnect from the world. And I mean like disconnect from friends, family, like this, that. And I don't mean that rudely, like let them know, hey, I'm not gonna be on my phone for a while. I'm not gonna be on Instagram for a while. Like, don't take it personal. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't need to be connected to people all times of the day. And when you are, like I said, you lose yourself. You lose the time of what you should be doing to grow yourself. You're too focused on, you know, do you ever have like that friend, right, that calls you and they're just like, oh, this and this is going on, and this has been hard, but we're doing this, and it's like they just dumped on you, right? And you have all this stuff of what's going on in their life, good and bad, and then you didn't even get to talk about yourself. So now you're just holding on to all their stuff they just talked about, and you're kind of like, well, what about me, right? So I feel like that's what it means to disconnect. Don't take people's stuff right now. Take some time for yourself. Take some time to practice your hobbies, to practice some experience, to, you know, read some books, learn more about yourself, like do some self-help books. Like this is the kind of time that you need to learn about what you want. Because all these questions I asked you about, what do you want in life? What makes you happy in life? Those questions are not gonna come, those answers aren't gonna come easy. And unless you give yourself that time to get off social media, stop calling and texting people 24/7, you're not gonna have the time to really sit and think with yourself about, this is what I want. Like, this is, I get it now. And like, for me, like, that's all it took. I mean, it took, I'm trying to think, since the last time I like vlogged, it really took that time for me to realize, like, I just want what I want in life. And even though it may not be social, like, accepted by society, maybe it may be funny to someone else, or maybe it won't, you know, really make sense to other people, I don't care. And that's the point I'm at in my life, is where like, I don't care. I just care about what I want. And, you know, just like if someone else wants something in life, that's what they want, and I can respect that. So I think once you finally give yourself that time to disconnect from the world, disconnect from everybody, it just allows you to really find what you want. And also too, like in your 20s, like even before then, let's just say like even in your late teens to your 20s, like we are so easily like wanting to prove ourselves, whether it's through clothes, buying, you know, materialistic stuff, post, you know, cars, this and that. Like, it's so easy to flex your life and want to flex your life to show like, yeah, I'm doing good too. But like ultimately, like you find that inner peace for yourself when you're just doing good for yourself. And that's kind of what I felt like lately. I've been really happy with life, and I've been really content with just like, you know, the moments I have that are to myself and that I get to enjoy, and that like feeds my soul. And that's the thing too, is like what aligns with your soul is not going to align with everyone else's soul, and that's okay. Just know that you're not alone, and you're still, if you're in your 20s and you're watching this, you're still very young. And it may seem like the world makes you think 30 is old. 30 is not old. 30 is still so young. So it's like, if you're in your 20s and you're already stressing about this, that is good, because you're doing something in your life where you're like, I want change. I want to be enough for myself. And I think that's a good point to be at. Like, some people are just content with going out all the time and, you know, living a certain lifestyle for other people. And I just think it's like, you want to figure out your lifestyle you want for yourself as quick as you can, so that you can not waste time, not waste your money, and so that you can be content. So yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at in life, and I've been, like I said, really happy. So I hope maybe these things helped you, or you know, you find that place in your life where you can get to. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted it to be like as laid back as possible, because I don't know, I just wanted to get on here and like share what I've been going through, and kind of share like where I'm at in life, and you know, how I figured some things out. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a comment below and a like, and I will see you guys in future videos. Bye.